Let me just say, after View distorting the belt, they're proclaiming the real world champion. I'm going to tell you all, with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're number one, the only way you get to stay number one is to be number one.
Woo! Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, powered up by the Belly Up Sports Network of podcasts. Sit back and enjoy as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports, everything from the Detroit Lions to the state of Michigan sports to around the country and around the world. So what are you waiting for? Let's get out there and let's watch the latest edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. And welcome, everybody, to the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We are live here, courtesy of Belly Up Sports and Belly Up Media, their network of podcasts. We are live on our YouTube channel, which, of course, is the Captain Lou Sports Network. Glad you could join us here on this Wednesday, August the 17th. Can you believe that already? We are less than 2 weeks away from the start of college football. And we're less than, about 3.5 weeks, I guess, away from the start of the 2023 NFL season. So we got a lot to look forward to in the world of the NFL and college football. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to be joined in about 14 minutes by Tyler Lamb from Stadium HQ. He also writes for the Gillette Gazette. He is our New England Patriots insider. We're going to talk all things AFC East with him, and who knows what else. We'll talk about obviously the New England Patriots and the Jets, the Dolphins, and of course the Buffalo Bills. Can anybody stop the Buffalo Bills this year? We're going to find out about that. And we'll talk all things pro football with him here tonight. Ryan McCarthy, host of the No Credentials Required podcast, was supposed to join us tonight, had a family emergency, can't make it. So we're going to try to fly solo without him. And of course, but we do have Tyler coming up here in about 12 minutes or so. So it will be a great show for you. Glad you're with us here tonight. Excited to be here again on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Again, you can see us live on Twitter right now. You can catch us anytime on my YouTube channel. I invite you to subscribe to that. That is Captain Lou Sport, the Captain Lou Sports Network. You can find all of my podcasts on there as well. We're going to talk Hard Knocks in a couple of minutes here as well. Later on in the show, we'll look at the preseason college football polls, and there's no surprise there. Alabama, number 1. Ohio State is number 2, I believe, and so on and so forth. You got Georgia and Notre Dame in the top 5. That's a little odd, but we'll talk about that later as well. Clemson, of course, right up there, the usual suspects. So, again, we'll talk about that as well. And, anything that comes to mind in the world of sports, right off the top of my head, I'm sure we'll ramble on and on and on about that. Hey, reminder, too, while we got a minute before we get into Hard Knocks talk here, we have the Captain Lou 6-pack challenge is coming back. That's going to start next week. Let me think for a second. Not next week, the week after. I get my weeks all mixed up. We still got a week and a half. First games are Labor Day weekend, but the show before Labor Day, that is when we're going to give you our first edition of the Captain Lou 6-pack challenge. How that works is very simple. You go on and you'll see that I've got 6 games picked. First weekend, it'll be all college football against the spread. Your job is to beat me against the spread. You go in the drawing at the end of the year. We give away a lot of really cool prizes. We've got a gift card to Fanatics. We'll have a Visa gift card worth about $100, and who knows what else. We've got some other prizes in the works. Gets bigger and better every year. So all you have to do in that contest is email me your guesses at captainlousports@gmail.com, or you can give me your answers on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter at Real Captain Lou, it's that simple. Or follow me on Facebook, Lewis Gamlin, or at Lewis Gamlin, or the Captain Lou Extravaganza. They'll all be posted on there as well. So it's a fun contest. We really enjoy bringing it to you, and we get a lot of people involved. Some weeks I do really good. Some weeks I don't do so good. And you can enter multiple times in that contest. So we invite you to check that out. Again, it's the Captain Lou 6-Pack Challenge. That'll be starting the week of Labor Day. We've got some big games coming up that week and opening weekend. And that one of them will include Ohio State hosting Notre Dame, I'm sure, is one of the games that we picked. So that's kind of what's going on with Captain Lou Extravaganza. It's football season right around the corner. Actually, preseason is starting. And one of the nice things for me as a Detroit Lions fan is Hard Knocks is in Motown. They had episode 2 last night. I had a chance to watch it today. And, got a chance to see the highlights of the preseason game. Now, how many of you watch preseason football? Well, if you're like me, you'll watch a lot of it. Now, that's one of the cool things about having the NFL Network. They've got every game on there. But it gave me a chance to see some of the highlights of the Lions game against Atlanta last weekend. Their coaches get me fired up. There's no doubt about it. Dan Campbell, he can get you to run through a wall. No doubt about it. But, I guess some of the things I took away, I would like more talk about some of the players on the fringe. It's one of the things I enjoyed when they did the Rams and the Raiders, especially the Raiders with Gruden, and maybe when they did the Jets. They they focused more on some of the guys on the bubble. Now, we all know Jared Goff's going to make it, and we all know Aiden Hutchinson's going to make it, and I know he's a personality, loved his dancing, but did they really have to spend, 8 minutes on his family? I know that, a lot of people on social media are happy about that because, they are attractive, but, okay, I know his family's there, but they spent an awful lot of time on that. I'd rather see more shots of the game and more insight on some of the players on the bubble. Now, they kind of mention a little bit about David Blau, the third string quarterback or whatever. He's on the verge of, that he didn't do himself any favors with that fumble. But that's my first takeaway on it. Again, Dan Campbell can get me to run through a wall. Absolutely. He'll fire you up, and he's got some great stories, and he's got some cred. We talked about it last week. He's got that group of ex-ball players that have played in the NFL as coaches. Aaron Glenn's going to be a head coach. No doubt about it. And Deuce Staley, I think, is too. He was close to being a head coach already. But, that part of it I like. I like the insight. But I hopefully next week when they do episode 3, they get into more of the player battles, roster battles. That's what I used to like to watch, and highlight some of the other players. I did like the piece on Blau with his wife, that she's from Columbia and she's, a world-class track athlete. That was great. We need more of that, I think. I know Dan Campbell's a personality. He's biting kneecaps the whole bit. But maybe now that it's getting into crunch time, maybe they'll have a little bit. I don't know if they're going to have anything on the practices this week with the Colts. I understand they had a couple of skirmishes today. And that's another thing I like about what they do with preseason. They let these teams practice together, joint practices. And these coaches get more out of that than the games itself, the preseason games. So, and in preseason game number 2, I know we're not going to see much of Jared Goff, especially what happened to Zach Wilson. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see much of him at all. But that's just kind of my thoughts on Hard Knocks. Aiden Hutchinson's for real. Rodriguez, I like how they're highlighting him a little bit. But now we got some of the guys on the bubble. I want to see is Devin Funchess going to make it? He's making a comeback, trying to assert himself on a roster. Tom Kennedy, 100 and some yards. They didn't say anything about him. It's kind of a sleeper pick. Does he got a shot at making it? Guys like that. I would love to see something like that on the next episode of Hard Knocks. But, it's got me captivated, and it's fun to be able to see the team that I've grown up rooting for getting the national spotlight. But again, it's all going to go back to put up or shut up as far as the Lions are concerned. As Williams said in the first episode, 3-13-1. You got to prove it now. And I like what Dan Campbell said after the first game. He was candid, though, about some of the players. This might be their only opportunity. That might have been their only opportunity. That's the way it goes. They've got to clean that stuff up. And again, it's just, as a Lion fan, we're snake bitten, kind of like the Jets. That's what I was on Ryan McCarthy's show the other day, and I told him, I said, we're kind of parallel, the Jets and the Lions. They're both snake bit. Although the Jets have made it to the Super Bowl, they've won a Super Bowl, and they've been to the AFC Championship in this century. The Lions haven't. Obviously, the Lions haven't been. They've won one playoff game in 65 years. I get it, but I honestly think that they got to clean it up. They weren't as bad as the Cowboys with 15 or 17 penalties or whatever, but that's kind of my take on Hard Knocks. Not sure what you all think on that. Let me know on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou, or on my Facebook page, Lewis Gamlin, or give me a comment on my YouTube channel. I invite you to subscribe to the Captain Lou Sports Network. All of our shows are downloaded on there, and that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So we invite you to be a part of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We're going to try to be more social media friendly here as we get into football season coming up in today's the 17th, September 2nd, 15 days. Well, 16 days, I guess. High school football here in Michigan starts next week. First game that I broadcast on Michigan Sports Radio is a week from tomorrow, as I do the play-by-play for the Freeland Falcons. A little shameless plug there. Check us out over on MichiganSportsRadio.com as well, as we've got a bunch. We cover 15 games every week on that website, and I'll also have a highlight show there as well. So I got a lot going on, but wouldn't want it any other way. Well, coming up here in about 3 minutes or so, we're going to have Tyler Lamb join us. He's from the Gillette Gazette. That's he writes for the New England Patriots, Stadium HQ, Stadium Rant HQ. I beg your pardon, stadiumrant.com, a great website. I'm going to have a couple articles on there as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. Again, we've got so much going on in the world of football. Talking about college football, let's take a look at that real quick. Both polls, Alabama, no shock, number one. What I want to know is who in the world has Texas number one in the coaches poll? Steve Sarkisian is the head coach there. I know they're building a team, but why are they number one? I want to know what coach put them number one. Did they do it as a prank? What coach honestly thinks that Texas is not only the number one team in the SEC, or soon to be SEC, I should say, in the Big 12? How are they the best team in the country? That to me is absolutely, it makes a mockery of it. But it goes back to, back when, I did something years and years ago. We did a little survey or whatnot when I was going to college. This was, oh my God, back in the 80s. And we went and asked on the coaches that were on the UPI poll. Back then, that was the coaches poll before USA Today had it. And we wanted to know if the coaches actually did that poll, or if they had their SID or an assistant coach. And you want to know that 65% of the coaches did not partake in that. They were all SIDs or assistant coaches. They all admitted it on conditions of not anonymity. Is that how you say it? Being anonymous. How's that? But that just strengthens it. Why Texas would be ranked number one. I have no idea on that. That's absolutely crazy. But Alabama, to me, no shocker. They're number one. It's going to be, I think, Arkansas or Alabama number two. Ohio State number 2. Not surprised by that as well. They're going to be right there. As a Michigan guy, you know me. You see the garb back there. I'm wearing the Michigan shirt. I would love nothing better than Michigan go back to the playoffs. But they're going to be good. But I don't think they're going to be Ohio State good. They've got that chip on their shoulder big time right now. And, it's – wow. I don't want to go into Columbus if I'm Michigan right now. I hope they go down there and win. Ryan Day, he's got this. If they haven't already circled it after that game was over, I know they've got it circled now. And I know that is their big focus. But I don't see anybody beating Ohio State in the Big Ten. They're going to get a big test with Notre Dame. Supposedly they're the 5th-ranked team. I don't see that either. Freeman's their head. He's coming in. He's got some decent players on there. But I just don't see it happening. I really don't. So, anyways, we're waiting to be joined by Tyler Lamb. He's going to stop by momentarily. But while we wait for him, let's take a look at that poll, though, real quick. If I can pull the rankings up. We've got Ohio State, number 2, as I mentioned, with Alabama, number 1. Then you've got Georgia 3rd, Clemson 4th, Notre Dame 5th. That's the top 5 in both the coaches and the AP poll. Then you got number 6. You got Michigan at 6 or Texas A&M. Texas A&M's got some talent. They've had it now. They really have. Quarterback is going to be the different. I don't know. That's going to be the. That's going to be the telltale sign for me with Texas A&M. We'll have to get Tim Ham on. He's the reporter that we've had him on the show before. He's the Texas A&M guy. He's our insider for them. They've got to be just licking their chops down there, looking for that rematch with Alabama, that little spar that they had. But getting back with Texas 18th, and Ole Miss, I believe, in the top 25. My biggest question is, are there 2 more overrated coaches than Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian? Now, hear me out. What have they won? What have they won in college football? What has Lane Kiffin won of? I know he's won 9 games, I think 10 games, but has he won anything? Everybody bangs on Jim Harbaugh and, for being overrated, blah, blah, blah. Well, he took the next step. When is Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin going to do that? They're going to have to show me that they can win a conference. Now, I know they're in the big, Ole Miss is in the big, you're in the SEC. Texas will be. That's where they want to be. They want to be where the big boys play. So that's going to be interesting to find out how that all shakes out. But they got Texas A&M, the AP poll at 6, Utah, probably the class of the Pac-12. But I know Lincoln Riley wants something to say about that, and he brought Caleb Williams with him. They're kind of ranked right now 14th and 15th. Are they doing that on reputation only? I think they're a year or 2 away. But here's the thing. In the Pac-12, with that conference, besides Utah, they could very easily win 9 games and get on. And, who knows? We'll go from there. And we'll have to wait and see. But right now, speaking of, let's get going here. Let's get Tyler Lamb on. He's from the Gillette Gazette and Stadium Rant HQ. That's his Twitter handles. Tyler, thanks for joining us, my friend. How are you?
What's going on, man? I'm pretty good. I actually just got off a podcast about 25 minutes ago. So I'm double dipping tonight.
Hey, I appreciate you taking time out, coming on a little early, talking a little. Let's get right to the Patriots. Year 2 for Mac Jones. I've heard some rumblings out of Patriot camp that he's kind of not really having the greatest of training camps. What have you been hearing, and what have you seen out of Mac Jones in so far the beginning of year 2?
So it's definitely been an adjustment for him, only because we're switching the offensive scheme. We're moving to a more Kyle Shanahan West Coast system than the typical Josh McDaniels, Brady, tight, packed. Like, power running scheme with the vertical passing. It's more of a horizontal offense. They're trying to spread it out and have that West Coast scheme. So he's definitely had to deal with that. He's had to deal with the loss of Josh McDaniels and the implementation of Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, who I'm not the biggest fans of, but hey, it's okay. I'm going to take a deep breath because it's all right.
God bless you, man. God bless you. You can have Matt Patricia.
I don't want to, but it's okay because he's here. At least Belichick has he's the overarching guy. At least they're not off on their own, so it gives me a little bit more of a okay, fine type of deal. But as far as his play on the field, it's been pretty good. It's been solid. He looks slimmer, more fit. He the balls have been coming out a lot harder, a lot more zip on his passes. It looks like he legitimately went and gained 10 pounds of muscle, lost 20 pounds of fat, and added a little bit power to his arm overall. Short, medium, the long ball. His accuracy is definitely still there. And he's got a couple new toys. I know it's not Devontae Adams. I know it's not Tyreek Hill. It wasn't the splashiest type of things that were happening this offseason, but Devontae Parker was a top 15 wide receiver in this league just 2 years ago when he was healthy. He had over 1,000 yards. He had at least 6 touchdowns on around 80 something receptions. If I'm going off the top of my head right now.
No, that's great.
But that's definitely a usable number one wide receiver. He's not a marquee number one wide receiver, but they added him. They added Tyquan Thornton, who a lot of people weren't thrilled about when George Pickens was on the board. But hey, the Steelers are also looking into Tyquan. So that gives me hope because I know the Steelers can draft wide receivers. It's just something that they do. It's inbred in their scouting report. I don't know how they do it, but they keep doing it. So he's come on and shown that he's not just a speed guy. He can offer a little bit more, and there's a lot to reach for his ceiling. So there's a lot of development there that can still be had.
Well, Tyler, I'm always going to root for Mac Jones, and I'll tell you why. Last year in the draft, everybody they were dogging him, and they weren't giving him any chance. All he did was win at Alabama. And everybody, the thought was he was going to go to San Francisco, but everybody mocked his talent. And you go 10-7, you got to do something right in your rookie year. I don't care where you're playing. I don't care if you're playing in Detroit, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, wherever. You go 10-7, he's got to be doing something right. And my thing is, to your point about Parker and Kendrick Bourne, they're not going to make you run out and make them your top pick in your fantasy draft, but they did something right. And that kind of leads to my point. You just answered it. Should I be worried about them as maybe a defender when they come calling against Detroit? My question to you is, with Damian Harris, he's going to, last I checked, he's number 1 on the depth chart. How's he looking? And does he have that potential to be that breakout running back?
Actually, the breakout running back in the room is going to be Ramondre Stevenson.
Okay.
Damian Harris is a really good back. He can be a number 1 back on any team. I would say, not the teams with Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry.
Well, but, right.
He's absolutely serviceable. He can carry a workload of around 15 touches a game. He's in between the tackles, he's a grinder. Ramondre is just different. He offers intense vision. He's extremely good with his contact balance after he gets hit. It looks like he's going to fall down, and he does that. I've comped him to DeMarco Murray because they're the same size, same weight. Ramondre is 7 pounds heavier than him.
Okay.
And they when they run, you hit them. And if you don't wrap up their legs and make them fall to the ground, they're putting their hand in the dirt, pushing up, and just shooting for another 5 to 7 yards. He's shown the ability to catch the ball, and not just in a dump off emergency situation. He was running wheel routes. He was pass protecting. He was a rookie running back who fumbled the ball on his first touch in a Belichick system, and then came out and still had 700 yards and over 100 touches.
Wow.
What rookies they don't get another chance after that in the regular season for Belichick. That's kind of heard of. So I've heard excellent things about him in camp. I think this could be the first year that the Patriots have a legitimate number one running back for everything, not just not this compendium. I know they have a bunch of running backs, but it could be clear by the end of this year that Ramondre Stevenson's that dude.
Well, it'll be exciting to see. You know, it's funny with the Patriots, let's face it, they've never really drafted a hotshot wide receiver. They've brought in Randy Moss, guys like that, and they've been very serviceable, obviously. But I'm excited to see what this backfield and the skilled position players have. I look at the defensive side of the ball with you guys. We know Devin McCourty, we know Matthew Judon, they're studs. Who else will help carry the Patriot D? Who am I missing? Not being from that area, not seeing the AFC East a lot here in Michigan. Who else is going to carry that D for him this year?
Without a doubt, it's going to be Christian Barmore, I believe. He was their second round pick. They traded up for him into the second round. He really shouldn't have been there. He should have been a top 15 pick, but for some reason he fell because of I think it was studying habits or maybe some off the field issue. But he got drafted by Belichick, pretty much the perfect place to go when you have an off the field issue. If you need it solved, like that's a good place to get drafted to solve it. And when he was on the field last year, not being injured, and him and Matt Judon were doing their thing, the Patriots defense was regarded as one of the best in the league for at least 7 weeks. He got injured, Judon got injured, and then you saw the defense that we had against the Bills in the playoff game. And that's due to not having great depth behind these players and relying on them too much. This year, Henry Anderson is healthy. Lawrence Guy is healthy. Carl Davis is there, and they have Devon Godshaw. So that's a very deep room of defensive linemen. What they did basically is they switched their strength from being the defensive backs to being the front seven. They have a couple of linebackers that they drafted in the past few years that should be coming into their own. They're all very athletic, sideline to sideline, fast guys. Josh Uche, Ronnie Perkins, Anthony Jennings, Cam McGrone, Raekwon McMillan, and Mac Wilson. Like all those guys can go sideline to sideline, and 4 out of 6 of them can line up on the edge and give Judon a break. Get fresh legs.
Mm-hmm.
What the best thing that I can comp what I think they're going to do is they're going to be the 2017 Eagles, where they have just every person they cycle in is going to be capable of doing what they need to, but they're going to have fresh legs. It's just like a substitute. They're just different packages. These guys. Everybody's going to stay fresh, healthy, and ready to attack. They may not be the best players, but they're all very serviceable, and they're going against people who are tired. So
yeah, that's a huge point right there, Tyler. Fresh legs. You go through the year, you got depth, man. We've all seen it. That's huge. And if it seems like that's another thing with Bill Belichick. I was just going to ask you, how does he keep doing it? 22 years. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I don't think they're going to catch Buffalo this year, but I think they're the second best team in the division. But he adapts. And what do you think of the theory with Bill Belichick that he wants to prove that their success was him and not Brady? Does that fuel him, do you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That dude's ego is bigger than this planet. That's okay. That's okay.
Hey, hell yeah, man.
it fuels him. Absolutely. I will say this has been one of those off seasons that I look at and I'm like, damn, we could have done a lot here, but I'm okay with it only because we have Bill Belichick. If we had somebody else, I'm not sure how okay with it I would be. However, how does he keep doing it? He just loves the game. Yeah. I went to the in-stadium practice last Friday or maybe the Friday before that.
Yeah.
He was out in the field blowing whistles, running around, getting in people's faces. It was great. I saw him. I was like, damn, he's right. He lock and step. Hasn't missed a beat.
Tyler, these guys, you got him and you got Nick Saban and some of these other ones in their early 70s doing this stuff. Man, I don't know how the hell they do it. I've got a physical job, but there is no way in hell I'm going to do that when I'm 71 years old. Holy crap.
No way.
I can't believe it, eh?
Yeah, no, it's really incredible. And the thing here is that everybody wants the next new thing, but like around here we're perfectly content having what we have until it doesn't work anymore. I mean, he's earned that. So like you ride or die with it. I've always said this to my friends. If we're going to suck, that's fine. We were great for most of my life, like pretty much all of it. I was with them. I've been one of like a great, like about all about them. So if they suck, I have to be all about them then, right? Or else that's just you're not being a full fan.
Hey, you know what, Tyler? That's been the mantra with me with the Detroit Red Wings. They had 25 straight years of making the playoffs, 4 cups, 6 Stanley Cup final appearances. Man, it's worth having a downtime. I mean, not that I think you guys are going to have one. Sooner or later, he will retire, and you might miss the playoffs once or twice. But hell yeah, that's a great mindset to have. So I got to ask you, as we now switch gears a little bit, how's anybody going to stop Buffalo this year in your division?
Water? Let me grab water. 1 second.
Yeah, no, you go right ahead. Tyler Lamb's joining us. He's on the second of back-to-back podcasts, so he's got to take a little water break. Just a reminder, you're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. We are also on my Facebook page and the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page, Belly Up Sports Facebook, and my Twitter page. Follow me on Twitter at Real Captain Lou. As Tyler's back now, getting a little hydration. It's important, man.
Absolutely.
I always want to say spring training. Well, it's important in 2-a-days, man. Here in the dead heat of August. Getting back to my question, what if anything can anybody do in your division to stop Buffalo this year?
I don't really know, to be honest. I personally think that we'll split the season series because that's just something we do. We that's just something we do. We play our division games tougher than most teams. Like I know a lot of people will say that game we needed a hurricane to beat Josh Allen, but we still won the game.
That's right.
It's that happened. That was a real thing. We beat them last year. Like, I definitely think they've gotten better. The acquisitions of Von Miller, OJ Howard, their draft pick, Khalil Shakir. Also, I'm blanking. They drafted Kair Elam as well in the first round, who's actually somebody I was mocking to the Patriots quite often at 21, and they got him at 25, and that made me a little sad. They also have Trey White coming back. It's a great team, and it stinks. So one of my best friends is actually a Bills fan, and I'm a diehard Pats fan, but like I've had to grow a respect, like a mutual type of respect for that team, and they've done it right. They have a lot of homegrown talent. They took shots when they needed to. They gave up the assets to get players who they knew they were going to help, like Stephon Diggs. And they have a homegrown quarterback. Like that's the way to do it. And again, it sucks saying this, but like I find it hard to not like Josh Allen. I find it difficult, and that's really shitty of me saying. Like I don't like saying that, but I have to.
Yeah, it's. I almost have to say that about Aaron Rodgers. I don't like the guy. I think he's narcissistic as hell, but he's a winner, as much as I hate to admit it. Now, a couple other things on the other teams in the in your division. Is the honeymoon over for Robert Saleh and the Jets? I mean, I heard something today that they're already talking about if Wilson, even though he got hurt, non-contact, there are already whispers that they may go try out to get another quarterback. It'd be like the third one in 5 years. I mean, what's the pulse out there on the Jets that you can tell? Is the honeymoon over for him?
I think Saleh's safe. I think that management likes Saleh. I think Saleh is good for that team, and that it's good for the fan base as well. Like I don't think he's the issue here. Last year, that roster was devoid of much talent. They had an excellent draft this year. They Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson are both premier players, or going to be premier players at their position. They also added the pass rusher from Florida State. I am Jermaine Johnson III, who I had in my top 15. They got him in pick 30. So that was a steal. Then they go and draft Breece Hall as well.
Yeah.
So they definitely stack the deck for, even if it's Joe Flacco who plays, like they should have a competent offense at least. Because I think, again, I like Saleh. I think that he brought in a decent unit and cleared out the rubbish that was the Adam Gase era in that. Because
Wow.
Yeah, it bad.
Wow.
That dude is a cancer to teams. I don't know. I'll just leave that there. That's
fine. No, 100%. I was hoping Chicago would keep him. That way we wouldn't have to worry about the Bears.
Good players just turn bad around that guy. Like Ryan Tannehill was certainly serviceable when he wasn't playing for Adam Gase. When he was playing for Adam Gase, tough. He ruined Le'Veon Bell's career. I mean, other than what Le'Veon Bell did to it. Wow. But anyway, not an Adam Gase.
He's a prize fighter now.
Yeah, right.
So, hey, real quick, back to the Patriots. I want to take a look at their schedule and then get you a prediction. I'm going to put you on the spot. They got 3 road games out of the first 4: Dolphins, Steelers, and Packers. I mean, the Steelers I'm not real worried about, but then they got a home game with the Ravens. They're always difficult before they come to Detroit. It's kind of like, and then you've got at Arizona, at the Raiders, home to Cincinnati, home to Miami, and then at Buffalo. So, gosh, the end part of your schedule is brutal. And, what are you looking at? Is 10 wins realistic for you guys this year?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I don't give them, I'm not going to count them out against any team, only because I'm not counting out Belichick. And I think that this team is much better than the team with Cam Newton on it that won 7 games.
Yeah.
They played the Ravens that year. They almost beat the Chiefs in a game that I still contest N'Keal Harry was not out of bounds in. But I literally have a picture of it and I can see green, but whatever. Not
right.
It's okay. Even with the we went 7-9 with a team with almost virtually practice squad skill position players.
That was a hell of a coaching job that year to go 7-9 with what you guys had to go through.
There was nothing there, in my opinion.
I agree.
Nothing. So we have a lot now. I think. I think we have multiple defensive players who you can call at least 3 defensive hallmarks. We have Mac Jones, Damian Harris, Hunter Henry is a top tight end in the league. Devontae Parker should come in and be a very serviceable number 1 wide receiver. Not a top-notch one. He's not Devontae Adams. He's not Tyreek Hill. But he certainly should be capable in his role. Like I said, Ramondre Stevenson could be the running back of the future. A lot of people said it's Damian Harris. I think it's Ramondre, but they're going to have both of them this year. So that's just more weapons and more opportunity, and honestly more ambiguity, because they're going to have like the defense. They're going to have multiple different sets with numerous wide receiving groups. They can go out with a package of Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Devontae Parker, and little Jordan Humphrey if he makes the team. All of those people are 6'4" or taller. Or they can go out with Tyquan Thornton, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, and Ty Montgomery. And all of those guys are speedsters. So the way that they can change their offense, or their offensive personnel to pressure defenses now is going to be unique. I don't think many teams can do that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. I see him as a 9-10 win team myself because I'm not sold on the Jets yet. I think they've got some pieces there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as sold on Zach Wilson as a lot of people are, and Miami to me, I'm not sold on Tua. And in my opinion, you've got to have a quarterback that has won to win in this league, and Mac Jones has won. He won 10 games last year, and I think when you have that confidence level, and he's with a team like you mentioned, that's they're a proven winner. Hey, Tyler, real quick, I have you for a few more minutes here. I'll let you go in about 5 minutes. We were going to touch on the West, but I want to stick in the AFC with the West. A lot of people are saying this could be one of the deepest divisions in history in a long time. You've got the Raiders. Obviously the Chiefs start out. They're the defending division champs. Then you got the Chargers. They're the sexy pick. Then of course you got Russell Wilson coming to Denver. We'll start off with that. Is he going to be that much of a difference? Can he be the guy like Matthew Stafford was, who broke my heart a little bit, went to the Rams? Can he lead them to the Super Bowl, kind of like Peyton Manning did years ago? Or is it a little too much to ask for him?
I certainly think he can. It's going to come down to that coaching staff.
Okay.
Because they have all the talent. The talent's there. They've been stacked with top 10 picks for like years now, since Peyton Manning retired, essentially. They haven't been able to figure out the quarterback in the draft or throughout free agency. Mm-hmm. So they took a big swing, and they still have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Albert O, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, a top 10 offensive line. Then you go to the defense. They got Pat Surtain, who was a top 5 pick, who's playing like a top 5 pick.
Sure is.
Or will be playing like it when they start again, who was playing really well. They have Justin Simmons, who's a top 10 free safety. They have very good depth on the defensive line. They have decent linebackers, but they mostly play with DBs. But like I said, the coaching staff is really what's going to determine whether that team can take that step or not. But it's been done, and it's been done by Denver, and also it's been done by the past 2 Super Bowl champions.
Right.
So the mold is there.
Oh, for sure. And I think Russell Wilson's going to get a chance. He's going to get the handcuffs taken off of him, and that's, I think, what could be huge. And you mentioned their talent that they've got around him. But, it's funny is I can't count out Patrick Mahomes. He's with Andy Reid. It's kind of like with Bill Belichick, not to that extent with all the Super Bowls, but you've got a genius in Andy Reid. You've got a well-proven quarterback who I think is going to be a little surly this year. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny. The Las Vegas Raiders could be the best 8-9 team in pro history.
Absolutely. Because they all have to play each other. They all have to play each other twice. I don't think any of these teams is going to go undefeated in their division.
No,
I think there will all be like either 2-4, 3-3, or 4-1. Whoever escapes at 4-2 is going to win the division. It's going to come down to a split, and it's going to come down to division winner. And whoever has the most division wins is probably going to win that division. The Raiders have an extremely solid team. Again, Josh McDaniels has to show that he's not Josh McDaniels in Denver, that he's a new reinvented coach who can handle this now. And the Chargers, again, it's all coaching, because Andy Reid's the best coach in that division. Mm-hmm. And the Chargers have Brandon Staley, who definitely is aggressive, but sometimes I don't understand what he's thinking in his game management or clock management, or just some of his decisions frighten me. Let's put it that way. I'm not an NFL coach, but that's my take there. Some of his decisions frighten me. I like the consistency and the aggressiveness, but like sometimes you gotta relax for a second and think about something.
Last thing, Cincinnati, they made the Super Bowl last year. Joe Burrow, he took the world by storm. They've got some talent there. The easy question is it smoke and mirrors? Are they going to be able to do it again? Was it a fluke? But how much more difficult is it going to be for him to maintain that with now that, let's face it, they're the hunted as far as the AFC goes, man. And, you know what it's like being a Patriots fan with all those Super Bowl rings. Being the hunted is just is more difficult at times than being the hunter. How much more difficult is it going to be for Joe Burrow and the Bengals this year?
I would say in a typical circumstance, it would be. I think they'll be all right this year because they actually just really, really, really improved their offensive line. They made significant signings in the offseason to upgrade that. And in doing so, that was really their weakest link. They couldn't stop Aaron Donald from throwing Joe Burrow on the ground all Super Bowl because they didn't have the talent there.
Yeah.
I forget, there was a big name offensive lineman, or it was a guard that went there. They also got from the Patriots. He was on the Pats. Now I'm gonna blank on his name. Ted Karis. They signed Karis, who's extremely valuable veteran to have. He can play on all three spots in the interior offensive line, including center. He's a great teacher. He he's a glue guy. He's one of those glue guys that you need in the offensive line because it's always about being lock and step with each other. And honestly, I've been going back and watching every game from last season every week on NFL Plus. And I just watched that Packers Bengals game from week 5, and it was Jamar Chase, dude. Oh my, he is electric.
Man, isn't he something?
It's insane. You blink and the dude scores a 70-yard touchdown. Yeah. And you come back and you're like, don't let him do that again. And then he does it again in a different way. So like, I think they'll be all right. Again, I'm not thrilled about Zach Taylor's last decision in the Super Bowl. Let's give it to Samaje Perine instead of giving it to Jamar Chase. Like, I get go with the guy you're not expecting, but also like game plan with your best player or best players. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. No, that was a head scratcher, but you know what? Just remember, you were a benefactor of a head scratcher in that Super Bowl win over Seattle. So,
yeah, I can't throw on the one. Speaking about that, shout out to Malcolm Butler. He went on the season-ending injury. So
yeah, it's a drag.
Yeah, that sucks. So shout out to him. That play immortalized. It's all good.
Yeah,
and James White too, because he was immortalized in the Super Bowl against the Falcons.
Oh, I loved him. Loved him as a player. Really did. He was a lunch pail type of guy, man. You know, he one of my favorite.
He was the do your job guy. Like
yeah.
he was that guy. Like just a long line of Patriots like scat backs like Kevin Falk or Danny Woodhead or those type of guys. He fit right in, and he might have been he probably is the best one of them.
Yeah.
So
if he's not, he's right up there. What do you got on the docket next for Gillette Gazette?
I just wrote up a piece about the joint practices between the Pats and the Patriots. The Patriots and the Panthers. There's been 2 consecutive days of full team fights, which is extremely uncharacteristic of a Belichick team.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that a Panthers DB on a special teams kick came and hit Christian Wilkerson late in the head somewhere, and then he kind of flexed over him, and a couple of the Patriots players did not take kindly to that. Wilkerson actually went to the hospital and is being evaluated for a head injury. So it's a joint practice. It's not cool. You know what I mean? Yep. And I there is definitely some fault on our side, but you never try to do that. So that kind of sucks. But other than that, we also have how to watch the game coming up on Friday article. Like everywhere you can watch it, everywhere you can stream it, find it, that will come out. And also two of my writers are working on their podcast that should be coming out probably tomorrow. It's called Gillette Gazette. It's brought to you by Stadium Rant Podcasts. Or I'm sorry, it's brought to you by the NFL podcasts on Stadium Rant. Sorry.
All right. Well, Tyler, thanks for taking time out tonight and jumping on a half hour early for starters. And it's a great conversation with the Patriots, man. Love to have you on again sometime.
I'd love to be on, man. I'll do anything too. It doesn't just have to be about the Pats, fantasy football, anything. So just let me know.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Tyler. We'll talk to you soon and keep up the great work. Tyler Lamb with us here, joining us on the program, and some great insight on the Patriots. And they're going to be good. 10-7, I think, is realistic for the Patriots here tonight. So you know what? I do believe that, this year, it's like I said to him earlier, Mac Jones, what's really cool about him getting his rookie year in and getting his sea legs, if you will, they won 10 games. He learned how to win. And you have that edge. I don't care what level of play you're in, be it high school football, pee-wee, college, whatever. You learn how to win. You get that edge. Man, it stays with you. Proof in the pudding with my Lions. You know, I know we went to the playoffs a few times in the 2010s or whatever, but, you know, we couldn't get over the edge. And when Matt Patricia came in, we fell back off. Now Detroit's got to learn how to win again. And evident last year, Dan Campbell, great motivator. He's got the tools. He's got the coaches. Now they got to learn how to win. And I just think that's going to carry them a long way in that division. I know they've got Buffalo, but I also know that they can beat the Jets and they can beat Miami. And as Tyler mentioned, they've got a knack for being a thorn in the side of Buffalo. They can split with them. That's all you really can ask for. You know, possibly to go 4-2 in that division is not really unheard of. So thanks again to Tyler for joining us here on the podcast. Again, we are the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We're on the Captain Lou Sports Network on our YouTube channel. I invite you to subscribe to that. All of my podcasts are on there, high school as well as here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza, my high school preview shows or review shows, whatever you want to call it, but mostly my Captain Lou Extravaganza podcast. And we're part of the Belly Up Sports group of podcasts, a great group of guys and gals. Check out the Belly Up Sports and their lineup. We've got some fantastic podcasters on there that can give you anything you need to know in the world of sports, from fantasy football to hockey to NASCAR, you name it, pro wrestling, baseball, with the playoffs coming around the corner in about 6 weeks. Check it out. Check out our lineup. That's at the bellyupsports.com. Hey, a reminder too, we talked about it in the first half hour of our show. Coming up in 2 weeks, college football is around the corner. It starts in 16 days. Well, probably 15 days with some of the Thursday night games. But with that comes another year of the Captain Lou Six-Pack Challenge. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, how we do it is I get 6 games that I pick every week. 3 every week except the first week. It's 3 college and 3 pro. First week will be 6 college games since the pros don't start until the weekend of the 11th. I pick them against the spread. Your job is to beat those picks that I do. You got to pick those games better than me. And if you do, you go in the drawing for some great prizes that we give away at random right after the national championship game in college football in January. What you need to do is you make those picks, put them on my Twitter handle at The Real Captain Lou. You can DM me, follow me on Twitter, or you can put those right there as a reply. I will post them on Twitter. I usually do it every week. Or follow me on Facebook, Louis Gamlin, or the Captain Lou Extravaganza, or drop them by email, which usually 85 to 90% of the people do. And that is Captain Lou Sports at gmail.com. And, it's that simple. And it's a lot of fun to do. We get a lot of interaction with it. I've got a Visa gift card with your name on it, possibly, or a gift card to Fanatics, or who knows what else. We've got some other things in the works for that. So again, stay tuned for that. It starts in 2 weeks. This is the 4th year that we've done it. It gets bigger and bigger every year here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Real quick, I want to say a shout out to Lion Rumble 81 on Twitter. You saw my Tayshaun Prince jersey in the background. We talked about that Monday when I was on with Ryan McCarthy and the No Credentials Required podcast. Yeah, I got that in a drawing, and it's all I can remember with him is that block on Reggie Miller, and I think it was 2004 in the Eastern Conference Finals, the year the Lunch Pail Crew, the Detroit Pistons won the World Championship. So, that's one of the more unsung teams in NBA history. But Tayshaun, Tay, man, I love that jersey. And he was, that was a fun team, man, with him and Ben Wallace and Chauncey Billups and, Rip Hamilton and Rashid. And boy, they were good. They had a nice run, 2 straight trips to the finals. I know it's basketball. We're supposed to be talking football tonight, but thanks for Lion Rumble 81 for taking the time out. Thank you for replying and also for checking out the show tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and like I said, the extravaganza part coming into my 4th year here doing the show, and my first with the Belly Up Sports Crew, and I couldn't be more excited to be a part of it. And we're just going to get bigger and better. Well, I want to thank Tyler Lamb for joining us. You can catch him on at Lamb4752 on Twitter. Also, check his work at GilletteGazette.com and StadiumRant.com. Thanks for joining us tonight, Tyler, talking a little New England Patriots, AFC East, and AFC football in general. Always fun talking football. So, again, we talked a little bit about it. We want to give a special shout out to Ryan McCarthy, who was supposed to be on the show tonight, had a family emergency. Hope everything's all right with him. Good news I heard for his quarterback, though. He's a Jets guy. Zach Wilson, it looks like it was a slight tear. They got everything repaired. I think the big question is he going to be able to play week 1, or is it going to be Jolton Joe Flacco? But, all this talk about getting Jimmy G, why? They're not going to throw the towel in on Zach Wilson, and why have him looking over his shoulder? I got to tell you, you got to sell me on Trey Lance. I know he's already been named the starter, but where is Jimmy G going to go? That'll be the $1 million question. So hope everything's good with Ryan. That's going to probably do it here in a couple of minutes. Want to say a special shout out, local guy here in the Lansing area. Well, you all know John Smoltz, Hall of Fame pitcher for the Braves from the Lansing, Michigan area. His father passed away, John Smoltz Sr. He was a big figure in baseball here in the Lansing, Michigan area. So our thoughts and prayers go out to their family, the family of John Smoltz Sr. Let's see, what else do we got going on in the world of sports? Still waiting the word on Deshaun Watson. I would have to say that we're probably looking at an answer maybe by the end of the week. We've talked about it at length here on the show. I don't know if he's going to get a year. My thinking is they're going to suspend him. They're going to probably, I don't know, maybe negotiate it down to 12 games. I know they play Houston, I think week 13. I wouldn't be surprised if they compromise, make it 12 games, start him right after that game. That'll be his first game. So anyways, well, that's going to do it tonight. I want to thank again Tyler Lamb for hopping on and joining us, talking some AFC East football, primarily the New England Patriots, and also touching on the rest of the teams in the AFC East and a little bit of the AFC. Some great insight. And it's going to be fun to see how that division winds itself out. And of course, the AFC West, we talked about that. Is it the best division in football? Could the Raiders be the best 8-9 team of all time? And of course, everybody's going to wonder, can Russell Wilson do what Matthew Stafford did and Tom Brady? And that's win a Super Bowl the first year with his first team. That's going to be the big storyline in that division. along with, like we mentioned, Kansas City. They're not ready to give the crown up as the king of the AFC West. And, of course, you got Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. So, hey, it's football season, right? Can't have it any better than that, can we? All right, that's going to do it. Join us next week. We are going to be on Monday, as I've got some other obligations next week with high school football starting out here in the state of Michigan. And then starting the week after, we will be on our normal day, which will be Tuesday. So make sure you check us out. That is the Captain Lou Extravaganza live on Captain Lou Sports Network. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also check us out on Belly Up Sports, the network of podcasts, and also my Twitter handle at Real Captain Lou, and on Facebook, Louis Gamlin, or the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page. All right, that's been it, or that's going to do it for tonight. Reminder, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next week here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. So long.